can't really speak too much on what we're building, but I can say that Otherside is a huge passion project here now.
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredibly ambitious project.
It's ridiculously ambitious.
All right, good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Compound Interesting. In today's video, I'm going to discuss why I'm excited about the Otherside Metaverse, and particularly the Otherdeeds, the land plots that you can buy to be an owner within this metaverse. So I've gone through the entire light paper that's available on the website, so I'll link that in the description. But there's actually a trove of information about what the idea for this metaverse is going to be, and I don't think most people are aware of it. But anyway, I've gone through it all. I've gone through every kind of resource available about what the hell the Otherside is going to be, what the vision and the plan is, and I've picked out the most interesting points in my opinion and how to invest, like the best way to invest in the Otherside. So what is the Otherside? The Otherside is a metaverse that is going to be created by the same guys who made Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and who own CryptoPunks as well now. That's Yuga Labs, and they have shown time and time again that they're the best team in the entire Web3 space, in my opinion and most people's opinion. These guys are absolute killers. They recently did an interview with the Now boys. You should watch that just to get an idea of their vision and what kind of guys these guys actually are. They work 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. They have a huge team now of really smart, talented people, and that's the kind of people you want to be investing in. So these guys who've created the best NFT projects in the past, they've delivered. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds of what they've delivered, but just so you know, they're really the top tier NFT team. They're going to be creating a metaverse, and they're not going to be creating a metaverse in the kind of dystopian version or vision that Facebook or Meta have come up with. You can see their crap looking metaverse, what they've managed to achieve with $15 billion. Looks like fucking, I don't know, Sims from 2004. No one's going to be playing that crap, in my opinion. There's just no imagination to it, and they want to take 50% cut of every NFT or every asset that is traded within the Facebook metaverse. So it seems a little bit out of touch, whereas the Otherside metaverse is a lot more imagination, a lot more storytelling, and it has much better principles and philosophies, in my opinion. So it's kind of an open source, crypto principled metaverse in the fact that it's open, it's decentralized. You can take your NFTs in, like any NFT, as long as it's within the guidelines. You can take your NFTs in and out of this metaverse, and this metaverse will be interoperable. That's a hard word. Interoperable. You know what I'm trying to say. Jesus Christ. So instead of having one company controlling the entire metaverse and that kind of, they know what everyone's doing and they have way too much power, the kind of Facebook version where they have kind of access of all the social media and they have control over pretty much the entire discourse of the Western world. The Yuga vision is a lot more decentralized, crypto vision, open source philosophy. They're actually building the metaverse out in the open, so they're crash testing with their first trip, their first little experience for people to go into their metaverse. They just did that in the open. They just crash test with users, people who had Otherdeeds. So I'll show a video of it now, so you can see thousands of people going in, interacting, doing all of this stuff at the same time, which is extremely hard technologically. So that's extremely hard to do. So they're using Improbables technology, which allows 1,000 people to stream and interact with each other and all talk to each other at the same time. And I can talk to someone who's beside me, but I won't hear someone who's 10 feet away, and that's 1,000 people all I can see what he looks like, or what she looks like. That's a really hard technical feat, and no one else has that as of yet. So they're developing this metaverse out in the open. They have a vision of it, but they're going to course correct and use people's feedback to make the metaverse kind of what the users want it to be, and testing out in the public basically. So they're doing this the creation of this metaverse with an 11-part storyline, and this 11 parts make up this obelisk, this mysterious obelisk. So the first part of the obelisk was the Voyager's journey, what I just showed you. So basically the first trip, and every Otherdeed who participated or participates in the first trip. I think there's going to be another opportunity to participate in the first trip. All of those Otherdeeds have been tagged with a first trip attribute on their metadata, or in OpenSea you can see they have the attribute now. So if you take part in all the 11 parts of this Genesis journey, there's going to be some extra rewards for you, but I definitely recommend trying to take part in as many as you can, because it should be really interesting and fun. So it's an 11-part journey, and each journey is a storyline that they're going to release more information about coming up. But I'm not going to go through each one, but coming up is the the coda and artifact decoupling, which means if you have a Otherdeed that has a coda on it, one of these little 10,000 characters that only 1 in 10 Otherdeeds have, you're going to be able to separate that. Or if you have an artifact, you're going to be able to take that out of the Otherdeed and move it around as you please. You'll have a separate NFT of that coda. So knowing that this is going to be coming up probably within a few months, the fact that codas and artifacts are going to be able to be decoupled, there'll probably be a pump into that when that actually does happen. And I think most people are aware that artifacts are going to be able to be decoupled, so that's why I'm probably going to be buying an artifact land deed very soon. So you can just filter for artifacts, and they're not much more expensive than a floor or other deed. So I think the artifacts and the codas will pump into that news when they actually kind of say, oh, this is going to happen on so and so date. But that's probably a few months out. Another thing on the roadmap that's going to come out in this 11-part journey is that there's going to be 100 new land plots. So yeah, not 100, 100,000 new land plots. So there's 100,000 now, and there's going to be 100,000 more. And those land plots are going to be given to other deed holders already, or people who have helped contribute to the other deed or to the Otherside Metaverse. So how can you contribute? You can use their software development kit.
Yeah, why? And so that's what we're building on Otherside, our metaverse. But we can get into that as well. But I mean, the idea here is like interoperability. It's like you should be able to like build an asset, in a SDK, software developer kit, and create your thing. And then if you want to play on it there, great. If you want to take it somewhere else, great.
So if you're kind of a programmer, or you're a creator, or you're a company, you can use a software development kit to help build the other side. So you can, build certain things. So you can build certain things like little mini games, little games, characters, stuff like that. If you help build stuff like that, you're going to be rewarded with more land plots. Another thing that's coming up in the roadmap that I thought was interesting is you don't even need to be a software engineer. You'll be able to just build simple things just using like kind of a drag and drop kind of menu is what I've understood from what they've released or what they've said. You're easily going to be able to like say, okay, I've created this little, let's say it's a chair. I'll be able to tag it as a chair, and then anyone who interacts with it will be able to sit on that. So using resources, so each of the land plots, well, not all of them have resources, but a lot of them have resources. So if you have resources, you're going to be able to create your own objects and, probably sell those objects or move them around or do certain things with those objects. You could tag it as a ball. No matter what you've built, you could tag it as a ball and everyone can throw it or pick it up. So I'm not really sure, they didn't make it clear whether the resources are like finite, in the fact that if I have a resource that's tier 3, that means, let's say I have 300 amount of certain resource. Does that mean if I use that 300 amount of resource to create a chair, does that mean that other deed plot has no more resources anymore? Or does it mean there's like a constant flow of like 10 resource per day? If it's the second option, if there's a flow of resources every day, I think at the start, other deed plots with resources or high tier resources will get very overvalued, because like there won't be much resources that have been taken out of the ground yet. So people will want the other deeds that have the resources so they can create objects. So they're probably going to pay a little premium at the start, but as more and more resources have been taken out of the other deed land plots, the value, like there's already thousands of chairs, so there won't be as much demand for land plots with resources if they're just infinitely pumping out resources. So just to be aware of that, if there's a big, if it is that kind of constant flow of resources, then if there's a big pump of resource land, I'd probably sell into that, and you could probably buy back lower down the future. This is how I'm thinking of things. So there's obviously a huge amount of different things going on within the other side, and all the different artifacts, the different resources. You kind of have to work out your own valuation of what's good value to buy in the other side. Kind of have to come up with your own theories yourself. But usually the best bet would not to be buy something that's somewhere in the middle, like something that has a kind of a average rarity resource or an average rarity tier. Like it's better to buy the floor or something that's really rare, because there's much more liquidity for the floor. It's much easier to sell something on the floor than to sell something that's kind of mid-tier at the right price. Like you'd have to be waiting a long time to get someone to buy it at the right price. But if something at the floor, obviously if there's two things at the floor and one's more, if two things are the same price, pick the one that has the rarer stuff on it. But yeah, just usually it's a better bet not to pick mid-range stuff. So buy something, if you want to buy something rare, buy a coda, buy a floor coda, not like a medium rarity coda. Or if you want to buy an artifact, buy a very rare artifact, or just a very not rare artifact. Don't buy like a medium rare artifact, because it's just going to be very hard to sell. So in my opinion, I think the Otherside has the best opportunity, one of the best opportunities of creating a metaverse that people actually want to use. They have really good imaginations, like they came up with Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, the whole like swamp idea, everything that's gone into their universe already. Like they're kind of bringing a whole new layer of their time gaming, playing RuneScape. I think they're whatever games that they were playing. They're big gamers back in the day. They've kind of brought all that imagination and their tech skills to create this metaverse, and they have just much cooler idea. And they have Improbable's tech, which is leagues beyond anything else out there. Like how many people play on Decentraland at the moment? Like there's not a huge amount of people on Decentraland or Sandbox. There's not a huge amount of people playing that on a daily basis. There's not a huge amount of adoption because they're kind of, you know, a little bit boring, a little bit stale, not a huge amount of imagination or cool stuff going on. Where this metaverse, there's like a lot of imagination, a lot of otherworldly, like, oh, and another thing with the 100 new plots is that the 100,000 new plots, there's all this stuff about you need to choose a side. So there's going to be, they haven't really explained very much, but it seems like there's going to be a good and a bad side, or there's kind of a duality within this metaverse. So one side, it'll be like one side on here and one side underneath, and there's kind of some sort of duality where one side is attacking the other and you're going to have to choose a side, something like that. But sorry, I got sidetracked there a bit. But yeah, basically what I was saying, I think they have the best chance. Like I don't think Facebook obviously is going to be a huge competitor to this metaverse. People will use Facebook's metaverse probably, but I think this actually has a better chance of getting adoption, in my opinion. And as I mentioned, their technology is leagues ahead of anything else that we've seen. And the fact that they're doing it all open source, like there's so much open source there's so much open source technologies that have done extraordinarily well before. Like I know it's not exactly open source, but the concept is similar in the fact that everyone can see what's going on. Not completely, but to an extent. Like everyone knows Ethereum's code or Bitcoin's code that's open source, and it's done so well. Whereas like Facebook's metaverse, like they're going to create something that potentially no one's going to play. Like Coinbase NFT marketplace, they built this crazy marketplace with like all this social media kind of aspect to it, and no one used it because they didn't tell people what they were building and use customer feedback to get an idea if people actually wanted this. So another cool thing with Improbable's idea, or Yuga Labs idea, that the Improbable team allows for is that it can be streamable and that you can play it on any device. You can play it, you can go into this metaverse whether or not you have one of the NFTs, whether or not you have an Otherdeeds land plot, whether or not you have any NFT, you can just go into the metaverse. You don't have to own anything. So right now the Otherside is about 1.5 Ethereum for the Otherdeeds. So is it the best time to be buying Otherside Metaverse? Well, I'm going to I bought another one recently at 1.9 Ethereum. It's dropped now to 1.5 Ethereum. I'm going to be looking to buy another one. I think it can drop all the way to 1 Ethereum. I don't think it will go below that, but of course it can. But at 1 Ethereum, I'd probably buy another one. The problem with Otherside is that Yuga Labs could just randomly announce something randomly announce the next part in the roadmap, or announce something cool, and the price could just pump out of nowhere. So sometimes buying when everything's pretty quiet is a good idea, although I don't think it's going to pump to 10 Ethereum within the next month or two. I think this is a very long-term play and a very risky play. Like obviously Metaverse is extraordinarily risky, and everything went crazy about the metaverse like last year in 2021, but obviously we were way too early with that. Like there was nothing really there. I think it's going to take a few years before this to actually get any mainstream adoption, and there's no guarantees that it will. I think it just, at the moment, if I had to bet my chips on someone, I'd probably bet on Yuga Labs, and I think the market is undervaluing the risk to reward in investing in the Otherside at the moment, and I think it probably will be undervalued for a year or two. There might be some random pumps like on when they do the next parts on their roadmap, like releasing the codas, as in like being able to detach them, or other announcements that they'll definitely do within the coming months. I don't think it's going to go to 10 Ethereum tomorrow or anything. If you got some value out of this research, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here, and make sure you hit the notification, because I'm such a small channel. I don't post too often, so if you enjoyed the video and you learned something, make sure you hit that notification bell. It'd be hugely appreciated. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.